have to cue in to our motivation for the morning.
So to reach unparalleled success, one must learn to lose money in order to make future decisions unencumbered by the fear of loss. To reach unparalleled success, one must learn to lose money in order to make a future decision unencumbered by the fear of loss. Whoa.
Yeah. I love it. Good business quotes from Doc Vaz and Doc G. Vance. We all know, always giving those sort of motivations in his writings over the years. Well, what else do we need? But again, always encourage ourselves that there always is a better day.
Yeah, but you know, it's a good thing when you hear such great persons tell you that it's okay to lose money. Because you know what? That's one of the very painful things. You can really think about it really hard, and you lost this amount of money. But if you want to be successful,
you have to invest. You lose. That is, you fail, but you try again. Perseverance is key.
Yeah, it's part of life.
Okay, so now our top headlines for the morning. But before we do that, though, let's just bring you the rundown of what we have for the AM show. We'll be having the members of the MPP and NDC communication teams in the studio. We'll be talking about the IGP's warning against human rights abuses, not only in the police service, but also generally in society. And, well, the West African, is it West Africa Examination Council? The results for WASI are out, and we've had some tables of the best schools that did well in the external examinations. And apparently in the top 10, well, schools you think usually would do well are not in. And that's what we'll be looking at today.
You know, sometimes the schools, it's just they're big names, and that's what they're living on.
Well, yes, sometimes complacency as a human being and an institution can always get you in the wrong place.
Yeah, but there are great schools in weird places. They're doing very, very well.
Well, and there's also an Ebola virus alert, we're being told. So what precautions do we need to take? And so far as a country, are we threatened at all? So we'll be discussing all that on AM Talk.
And you know, Ghana Post has been in the news recently.
I hear they've gone bankrupt.
Yeah, there's so many.
I'm a media person, I need to
things.
speak well.
Oh no, but it's fine. There's so many things surrounding Ghana Post that
they're not doing too well financially.
We want to open up. There's also an issue of embezzlement somewhere. But we also want to look at the future of Ghana Post. I mean, now that we're all using internet, is there a use for it? We just do the P.O. box, you know, just for the sake of writing the P.O. box, but do we really use it?
Yes. So those are the issues we'll be looking at. And in lifestyle and culture, we'll be talking about a new series dubbed The African City, and we're being told that it's Africa's equivalent of Sex in the City. Well, so we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, though, our top headlines for the morning, and you have to start, please.
Yeah. So the country's 10 regional administrations are to benefit from some 2.25 million euros assistance from the European Union.
It has emerged at the Judgment Debt Commission sitting the existence of a special account at the Bank of Ghana used to settle judgment debt claims, but the Bank of Ghana has denied the existence of the said account.
So the closure of the Adome Bridge has made Saint-Chi rather very popular, but the absence of security lights at the Holden Bay at the Saint-Chi Ferry London site has become a major source of worry for traders and commuters. We'll bring you details of these stories and more here on the AM show.
Do stay on. We'll be right back.
So it has emerged at the Judgment Debt Commission sitting the existence of a special account at the Bank of Ghana used to settle judgment debt claims. The sole commissioner at Tuesday's sitting had questioned the motive for the creation of such an account. He says could send the wrong signals. The Bank of Ghana has, however, denied the existence of the said account, despite letters from the Comptroller and Accountant General confirming this.
Two letters from the Controller and Accountant General's Department stated the account numbered 011-306-001-4036 is a special account dedicated to paying judgment debts. According to the letters, payment had actually been ordered from the account to some individuals, but the Deputy Chief Manager at the Bank of Ghana denies this.
When we did our work, we realized that it's a 5-year Treasury bond monitoring account, and we don't have any special account for judgment debts, my lord.
So was it a controller that quoted a wrong account, or that gave a wrong nomenclature to the account number?
The document...
No, my lord, I have not get... You see in paragraph... Yes, that's what I'm reading. Yes.
Of the attachment, I read it reads as follows. The debit should be raised against account number 0113006-001-4036 into bracket special account designated for the payment of judgment debt.
The Commission is, however, unconvinced and has asked for more clarity from the Bank of Ghana.
What the Commission has decided they do, that is the bank, is to go back, rectify the situation, and come back and tell the Commission what the situation is as far as that special judgment debt account is concerned. In the meantime, the Controller and Accountant General is also going to be subpoenaed before this Commission to clarify these issues related to this special account.
Meanwhile, the whole Municipal Assembly has denied owing one Andrew Tefuto, who claims he lost some economic trees when his house was demolished to make way for the construction of a road. Though the Assembly admits pulling down the petitioner's house because it was built in the middle of an earmarked road, the Home Municipal Town Planning Officer, Felix Selwame, told the Commission a 4-bedroom house was built to compensate Andrew Tefuto.
According to the minutes, as at the time the demolition was done, there were no such economic trees. There was no evidence of such economic trees. Normally, we don't acquire roads, propose roads when we propose roads, because when we're doing the proposals, we do it together with the landowners. So we don't acquire land for road opening. The
Assembly insists Andrew Tefuto, an ex-employee of the Lands Commission, is not entitled to the 72,000 Ghana cedis he is demanding.
The country's 10 regional administrations are to benefit from a €2.25 million assistance from the European Union. The amount will go to strengthen the institutional capacities and administrations of all regions.
Speaking at the launch, head of the delegation of the European Union to Ghana, Claude Mathane, said the ultimate objective of the grants will be to enhance the harmonization and monitoring of public policies at the local level. This, he believes, would improve the availability, access and quality of public services to citizens to better their living conditions.
All these are the best means of ensuring that we work towards common objectives that are improving living conditions of the Ghanaians. Decentralization, we all understand, is a means and not an end. There is a general lesson learned that the decentralization process is a means toward better governance and better service delivery at the local level, that accountability, participation and demand for improved service delivery can be best executed, generated at the level closest to the people.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Acquah noted the grant will assist the regional coordinating councils to procure vehicles, computers, scanners and other logistics to enhance their performance and service delivery.
If you take a regional capital with the office established to monitor, and they don't have the resources in terms of vehicles, in terms of computers, equipment to do this monitoring, then it's just in name. So this support is going into initiatives like that, so that they will have the capacity to monitor the assemblies and what they do in terms of the projects, in terms of the financial management, in terms of compliance with the various statutory regulations.
He added, government acknowledges its current macroeconomic challenges and is making every effort to address these challenges, as outlined in the 2014 budget.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has reiterated the weak fundamentals of the Ghanaian economy and called for stronger microeconomic policies. For the IMF, strengthened policy frameworks will help the economy withstand external shocks while ensuring that access to the global capital market is beneficial.
The IMF made the disclosures at a meeting with the central bank and other players in the capital market, noting that Ghana will continue to pay a higher price of accessing external funds if the economy's fundamentals remain weak.
Once macroeconomic stability is anchored and you have stable inflation, stable exchange rate, opening of the market has several advantages. One, of course, it will increase interest in the market, of course, and bringing a net inflow of foreign exchange. Capital inflows, the capital flows have challenges, and as the central bank increases capacity to monitor these flows, as the banking supervision department has the capacity to improve its banking supervision, there is no really drawback.
Sami Jaja also called for a well-capitalized banking industry to resist global financial shocks. But the Bank of Ghana maintains the current macroeconomic instabilities are temporary and will be addressed with time.
The instability that we see is not a permanent situation. There have been efforts and there will continue to be efforts. If you look at the budget for this year, there is a target which government indicates its intent to ensure that that target is achieved. And in the medium term, the fiscal consolidation is expected to be achieved. That is reducing the deficit to around 5 to 6% in the next 2 to 3 years. So conditions will improve, and therefore that will give us a basis to go to the market. So you can't say you will never go to the market because the conditions are bad, but because I think the current conditions are temporary.
The IMF, meanwhile, says it is ready to assist Ghana following the establishment of the office in the country.
Identifying cross-border supervision as one of the key issues that was extremely relevant for all the countries in the region. And Acquah really covers the 6 countries in the region where this is a major issue. We think that there has been a rapid expansion of these Pan-African groups all over the region indeed. And in some cases it may have outpaced the national supervisory capacity of the countries. And one of the cornerstones of our activity, of our program of activities in the region for the years to come, is indeed to address that and try to find the best way to basically improve the supervision capacity in all the countries.
Vice President Kwesi Emisa-Arthur has conferred with the Joint Steering Committee of Partnership for Growth. The committee, a partnership between Ghana and the United States of America, is mandated to carry on processes for Ghana to access the second compact of the Millennium Challenge account.
The group was at the Flagstaff House to brief the Vice President on discussions and progress made so far following their first meeting last year. Deputy Chief of Mission at the U.S. Embassy, Patricia Alsop, noted that the partnership will continue in spite of what she calls new challenges.
The situation that we're dealing with has changed. The macroeconomic situation has changed. But we still agree that this is an important partnership, and we're going to continue to work together to achieve our objectives. We realize there are some new challenges, but we believe that working together we can deal with these challenges. And there's some places where we may need to step up the pace, but I do believe that we're all on the same page as to where we're going.
The finance minister and leader of the Ghanaian side of the steering committee, Seth Tekbe, stated that Ghana's fiscal challenges and what is being done to address them have been explained to the U.S. counterpart.
The reference to some of the circumstances changing since the PFG was put in place. It's something which we acknowledge but reminded our counterparts that is something which we have been addressing in the 2013 and 2014 budget, SME and credit. There were some concerns, and so we clarified the point that government was in a process of consolidating SME policy to give it better direction.
Vice President Kwesi Bekwai Emisa Asa summed it all up and touched on Ghana's attainment of the Millennium Development Goals.
What we have decided to do is to tackle this thing up front and be able to restore balance this year so that it creates some fiscal space for us to spend some resources especially in infrastructure. We have done quite a bit on the Millennium Development Goals. There's one goal that is being a little more difficult to achieve, and we are trying to find some resources from our constrained budget to tackle that specific area. So I'm happy that you are with us. We have to take certain actions, and we are ready and willing to take them, and we know that you will be supportive when it comes to that.
The second compact will be dedicated to Ghana's struggling energy sector. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Flagstaff House.
Members of Parliament, led by the second Deputy Minority Whip, are demanding the release of statutory funds due the various metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies before the House rises on Friday, March 28. Members expressed their displeasure over the delay in the release of the monies.
Chairman of the Health Committee of Parliament, Joseph Yiletre, sounded a caution to the security agencies and outlined some steps needed to avert any disaster.
The Ministry of Health, through the Public Health Division of the Ghana Health Service, monitors and regularly updates the interagency task force on reports from particularly the entry points and border areas. 3. The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the task force, takes steps to stock the relevant medicines and prepare emergency teams in the event of the outbreak. 4. The task force must initiate measures including public education and awareness creation about Ebola and other diseases.
The ranking member of Parliament, Dr. Richard Anani, called for the involvement of all relevant government agencies in the fight against the Ebola virus, as well as public sensitization.
We may also have to look at it at a regional-wide situation. It has occurred in the West African sub-region. So we may also have to call upon our Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Agriculture, because the veterinary people, the vet surgeons must also be involved in the way this thing is handled. We must also alert our Ministry of Health to collaborate with its colleagues in the sub-region. Therefore, I will, whilst adding my voice to the statement, also want to add that the Ministry of Health may have to call for an emergency WAHO meeting, where at that meeting they may have to find ways and means of stemming the spread of this condition.
In another development, the Deputy Health Minister was also on the floor to answer an urgent question on the increase in supply and distribution of the anti-snake serum from the current average of 10 to rural districts on a quarterly basis.
Well, before we go on to the next story, members also called on the national security to be extra vigilant at the nation's borders and entry points following the outbreak of the deadly Ebola virus in Guinea. And cases of the virus have so far been reported in Liberia. We'll turn our attention to other stories, and the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, is cautioning personnel against the use of excessive force in the enforcement of the law. Addressing personnel for UN peacekeeping duties, the IGP urged the officers to aggressively work towards projecting the new image of the police force and apply skills they are learning in their local operations. Gifty Andopia was with them in our reports.
About 160 personnel are currently undergoing the 4-week training by experts from the United Nations and the Center of Excellence for Stability Police Units based in Italy. The training ranges from basic police techniques and tactics including traffic control techniques, tactical progression, public order management, command and staff training, as well as self-defense and firearms training, for which they demonstrated their preparedness. Director of Police Administration, COP Rosebio Atenga, commended the females especially, encouraging them to do more to ascend in the police hierarchy.
Amongst you are female officers who are performing wonders. That is it. So that when we leave the scene, you can perform better.
The IGP was emphatic about non-violation of human rights in the line of duty, adding the trained personnel should transfer the knowledge to other colleagues to enhance the new image of the police.
We have to apply it also in our own country so that we are able to protect citizens. We are also able to deal with criminals without infringing upon their human rights. These are things we should take seriously to avoid the excessive use of force, especially firearms. Most of us have discharged firearms because we are lost of ideas.
He hinted the Upper West region will have a new police training institute.
Maybe next time we will be doing this not here, but in Polugu in the Upper East region, where we want to open the public safety training school. But it's something that, a program that will be run every now and then to ensure that not only those of us in the form police unit, but in other units also get specialized.
The time and countries the officers will be sent to will be communicated in due course by the United Nations. 140 of the current total of 160 trainees will eventually be sent on the mission.
One thing that strikes me is the female representation. These are men and women of the Ghana Police Service getting prepared to be deployed to help restore peace and order. The IGP has warned them against complacency, and he's also looking forward to a time where these extra skills that they get before going on UN trips are inculcated in general policing here in Ghana. Gifty Andropia, Joy News, Tesano.
Well, the absence of security lights at the Holden Bay at the Ferry London site is a major source of worry for traders and commuters who rely on the craft to cross the Volta Lake. Patrons of the ferry believe the lack of adequate lighting makes them susceptible to crime. Joy News' Prince Adobo visited the site and has come through with his report.
The Ferry site began operations on March 17, 2014. Following the closure of the Adome Bridge for rehabilitation, officials say will last 2 years. The closure of the bridge meant that traders who used to operate nearby relocated to Senchi along with the commuters. The traders were also hopeful they will continue to enjoy the bricks business that comes with nightfall. But this has not been the case, a situation they blame primarily on the lack of lighting at the temporary lorry station here. Some of the commercial drivers also lamented the situation.
When 7 o'clock, they have to close. We stay here, they go break before we go. It's not fine. Formally, that bridge, always you can pass go. So we beg government to help us so that night side we can close. You can pass go.
I'm sure that Hanma is soon if I'm from Toe to the riverside, and when I'm a solar no 50. Two side no could end one no light. A one munya is soon.
I had a soon quantity amount passengers and by who had so ye. And to be a back cannot be broke. And to say young light was stationed area saying because I assume to do.
The district chief executive Thomas Yakun, however, says the assembly is already taking steps to address the concerns.
The main streets have lights. Our concern is the periphery, on the other sides of the road.
All right, so that will be it for the AM News this morning. Before we go, though, we want to run through quickly the headlines for you. Now, it has emerged at the Judgment Debt Commission sitting the existence of a special account at the Bank of Ghana used to settle judgment debt claims, but the Bank of Ghana has denied the existence of such an account.
Well, as you just also watching that story, the absence of security lines at the Holden Bay at the St. Chi Ferry London site has become a major source of worry for traders and those hundreds of commuters who commute between the Volta region, parts of the eastern region, and Greater Accra daily.
All right, so for more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. We'll bring you sports shortly. It's brought to you by Cowbell. Stay with us.
We'll be right back.
Good morning, I am Baba Tando. Thanks to Cowbell, we are here to talk sports once again this morning. And we begin first from home. And yesterday, 7 matches went down in week 22 of the ongoing First Capital Plus Premier League here in Ghana. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they recorded a defeat. Folk, on the other hand, they continued to dip in the woes of Ash Gold as they beat them 2-1 here at the Accra Sports Stadium. Now let's check out the full results of matches that were played yesterday in week 22 of the First Capital Plus Premier League. Ebusua Drops on their way to redemption. They are doing everything possible to leave the relegation zone. They romped Amidas Professionals by 4-0. Ediana Stars also held on to a lone goal against King Faisal. Edibiase FC 1, Liberty Professionals 0. Inter Allies 3, Brekum Chelsea 2, Hazakes 2, Bechim United 0. Right, we'll go very soon to the English Premier League, but just before then, Ghana defender and then Santos of South Africa's defender, John Paintel, he is about to hit the law courts because his wife, Richlove Paintel, says that she is tired and she wants a break from the marriage legally. So she is filing for divorce in the law courts. Let's catch the latest on this.
Another Ghanaian international football star, John Paintel, is heading for the divorce lane as his wife, Richlove Paintel, has filed for separation at an Accra High Court. However, Paintel, who is at the moment playing for South Africa's Santos, has reportedly refused to sign the divorce papers months after he had been served copies of the document. A source close to Mrs. Paintel has confirmed to Joy Sports that after enduring so much emotional stress and trauma, as well as neglect, Mrs. Paintel feels it's time to move on. At the moment, Paintel has not been remitting his family, and after thinking through, Mrs. Paintel says it's the best option to go their separate ways. But perhaps taking a cue from what has befallen his colleague John Mensah following a divorce ruling, Paintel is hesitant to sign the divorce papers, and the lawyers of Mrs. Paintel have allegedly given him up to the end of the month to sign before considering the next line of action. Recently, an Accra High Court granted divorce for Mrs. Henrietta Mensah against the former Black Stars captain, with the ruling that the properties of the Rock of Gibraltar be sold and proceeds shared between them. This is the latest development in the topsy-turvy relationship of the Paintels after the footballer allegedly assaulted his wife last year. The incident, which ended up at the East Legon police station, was later solved amicably, with Mrs. Paintel describing it as one of those misunderstandings between couples.
Matches went down in the English Premier League last night. Liverpool went ahead to beat Sunderland 2-1 at Anfield, and then West Ham also went ahead to beat Hull City. Let's catch the latest in that game between Liverpool and Sunderland. All right, so with this result, it leaves Liverpool in second place next to Chelsea with 68 points. Chelsea has 69 points and Liverpool has 68 points, followed by City with 66 points. Remember that City still have 2 games outstanding. All right, now in the Spanish La Liga, Real Madrid they went down. Barcelona went on top. And then Atletico Madrid also went on top, meaning that Real Madrid lost their game. Atletico and Barca won their respective games. So now Barca is 2 points ahead of Real Madrid. Right, so that will be it for the AM Sports News this morning. Now, for all of you who are comparing Real Madrid to Arsenal, I mean, it's simple. It's simply no. It's a no-go area. I mean, Real Madrid is different. Arsenal is different. But that'll be it for this morning. By the kind courtesy of Cowbell. This afternoon, I'll be back to talk more sports on News Today. My name is Baba Tando. The AM show isn't done. Stay tuned after this break. The crew will be back.